Every year, tens of thousands of elephants are brutally killed for their ivory. It is estimated that between 2010 and 2012, more than 100,000 African elephants were massacred, and the death toll has continued to rise year on year. In the last century, 90% of African elephants were wiped out, and the World Wildlife Fund estimates that only 415,000 of the animals remain. The illegal ivory trade is a multi-billion-dollar industry being driven rapidly by the leading markets in China, the United States, and Japan, with it having very strong links to organised crime. Wildlife traffickers have taken advantage of modern commercial developments, which make it easier for the dealer to distance themselves from the poacher and thus avoid conviction. Forensic investigations are generally unsuccessful in identifying the geographic origins of seized ivory, as their trail of information usually begins at the point of shipping. At the rate poaching is going, elephants could be virtually extinct by 2020, which means that new steps must be taken to tackle the problem from the root of the cause. This means finding out the geographic origins of seized ivory in order to combat the poachers. This can be done using DNA assignment methods. A 2002 shipment from Malawi containing 6.5 tonnes of ivory tusks and small ivory seals was seized in Singapore, in addition to ivory scraps taken from a Malawi factory in a different seizure. A second seizure in 2006 in Hong Kong recovered 3.9 tonnes of ivory tusks, and a month later, in Cameroon, two similar containers returning from Hong Kong were found to contain ivory chips. DNA analysis was performed on ivory from both these cases to determine whether the seizures in Singapore and Malawi and in Hong Kong and Cameroon had a common geographical origin. The samples were selected by grouping the tusks by their external features, the ivory seals by their diameter, and the scraps randomly. Ivory was extracted from all samples and amplified for 16 microsatellite loci, so geographical assignments could be made by comparing the ivory genotypes at all 16 loci to over 600 reference DNA samples extracted from tissue and scat samples which were collected from elephants in known savanna and forest habitats. More refined geographical assignments for each individual were performed using SCAT software, which creates a geographic map of allele frequency variation across the entire elephant range, a benefit of which is that it can include areas without reference samples due to the fact that populations close to each other tend to be more genetically similar than distant populations. By comparing the alleles within the samples to the geographic map of allele frequencies, the range of plausible locations for each sample can be determined, and thus determining a point of origin that the elephants were killed. The analysis found that the alleles from the Singapore and Malawi seizures indicated that they came from savanna elephants, which originated from Zambia, with the ivory seals and the scraps coming from a more northeastern part. The Hong Kong tusks were found to have come from forest elephants, with the tusks being assigned to an area centred on southern Gabon, and the chips from Cameroon were found to be from a similar origin. With the results showing a common origin in seized ivory, it suggests that poachers are targeting specific populations for prolonged exploitation. By proving that poachers continue to work on a particular region for extended periods, it allows law enforcement to focus on identified regions and can stop governments from denying the poaching problems in their country. It's not all doom and gloom, however, as there has been good progress in the effort to stop this illegal trade, with the Chinese government announcing recently that they will ban ivory trade by the end of 2017. As China is the largest ivory market in the world, it is hoped that with this reduced demand, this illegal and destructive trade will soon become a thing of the past, and the elephant populations of the world will begin to thrive once more.